Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Before Bihar elections and its results become a lesson in our history books, for the last time, let us try and discuss the Bihar election. Let us try and figure out what happened in Bihar and what didn't happen in Bihar. Let us figure out how Modi fared in Bihar and how Nitish Kumar didn't fare in Bihar. Let us figure out whether EVMs played a part in Bihar or EVMs had nothing to do with the Bihar election. Let us discuss all this threadbare. Let's get right to the show. 74 seats went to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Possibly one of the best performance of Bharatiya Janata Party after it was formed. Possibly one of the best Bharatiya Janata Party performance ever in Bihar. Fantastic performance. And the clear face of Bharatiya Janata Party in Bihar was the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was a clear face, and I would say it was a referendum to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's work for whatever he has done. Biharis thought that Prime Minister Narendra Modi handled the pandemic well. Biharis thought that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has got nothing to do with the migrant labours and whatever they went through. Biharis think that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has got nothing to do or does not blame Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the job loss. Biharis does not blame Narendra Modi for whatever they suffered in the floods. They went out there and voted for Narendra Modi. And the proof of the pudding is what you saw in Bihar. People awarded Bharatiya Janata Party possibly the highest seats that Bharatiya Janata Party ever got in Bihar in the history of Bharatiya Janata Party and Bihar. Number two is what we need to understand and understand very clearly is the core audience of Narendra Modi in 2014, that is the middle class Hindu, has swollen. It swelled when it came to 2019 and it is swelling currently as we speak. So in 2020, it is far better. That audience, that core audience of his has become bigger and bigger and bigger, and it is continuing to be big. So a lot of things that core audience will disregard till such time that Modi is the leader of Bharatiya Janata Party. Narendra Modi's popularity will keep on swelling, keep on growing till such time that there is a proper alternative as an opposition. There has to be an alternative to Narendra Modi, and today this country does not see an alternative. Until such time there is no alternative, like I said, his popularity, his fan base, his core audience, as we call them, will keep on growing. And that is what we clearly saw. Now, why do I say this? I say this is because it is not that people were not angry with the government for not providing them jobs. They were, but they were angry with Nitish Kumar. It was not people were not angry for the migrant problem, migrant labor issues, but that anger was on Nitish Kumar. It is not that the people were not angry because of the way that the Bihar government handled flood, and rightly so. The anger was with Nitish Kumar, and there, of course, the anger should be with him. So it is not that the people forgot about it. It is not that. People remembered it, but they were not willing to blame Narendra Modi, and that is one lesson that we need to take it seriously. So that's my point two. My point two is all the anti-incumbency rested on Nitish Kumar. Nothing affected Narendra Modi. So that's my point number two. My point number three. Tejasvi Yadav, I think, should be given 100% credit for whatever, the way he fought the campaign. Mind you, in 40 years, this was the first time Bihar saw an election campaign without Lalu Prasad Yadav. Of course, also without Ram Vilas Paswan, but without Lalu Prasad Yadav, since the topic of discussion is Tejasvi Yadav. 40 years. The way he planned the campaign, the way he kept his elder brother out, the way he sidelined his elder brother, the way he didn't use much of his father because the Jungle Raj factor was coming in the campaign was fabulous and meticulous. The way Tejasvi Yadav worked, the way Tejasvi Yadav dealt with the media, the way he answered the media, power in which he connected with the audience was fabulous, fabulous. Under different circumstances, possibly he would have swept the poll. Under different circumstances, possibly he would have swept the poll. Maybe people didn't accept him as chief minister yet. But a popular leader, he definitely is. And a popular leader, he is definitely going to be. So that's my point number 3. 14 seats, 15 seats, left parties got. A ray of hope all of a sudden from Bihar for the left parties. A ray of hope from Bihar. So one should say that Kanhaiya Kumar did a fairly decent job. The left parties did a fairly decent job. 15 seats for the left, good show. Good show by the left. So my point number 4, therefore, is that the left now sees a ray of hope from Bihar. So that's my point number 4. My point number 5. Congress has learned to be a small party. They have learned the art of being small and insignificant. They have learned the art. In fact, they are in the process of mastering it. I will tell you what I mean by this. In Maharashtra, Congress is the most irrelevant party as far as the Maha Vikas Aghadi is concerned. Between NCP, Shiv Sena and Congress, Congress is the most irrelevant party. Have you heard anything about Congress in all these debates and discussions and controversies? Nothing. Congress is nowhere. Congress is not there in Arnab Goswami, in SSR, in nothing. Congress doesn't exist. Those 3-4 ministers in Congress, they have got their ministerial berth, they enjoy their ministerial berth and they are happy that way. Neither do they take any efforts to do something, nor do they take any efforts to build their parties. They are absolutely happy and contented with what they are. This is the status of Maharashtra, and this is exactly the status that is in Bihar. The weakest link of the Mahagathbandhan was Congress party. One of the biggest mistakes that Tejasvi Yadav did was to give Congress party 70 seats. Their hit rate was 19 seats out of the 70 seats. So Congress has learned to be the weakest link. They are now used to it. That's my point number 5. My point number 6. Let us be very clear, and again a lot of people may disagree to me on this point, but let us be very clear. AIMIM, Asaduddin Owaisi's party, has done more damage to the RJD and the Congress, especially in the Simanchal Pradesh, where it is a Muslim-dominated area, than it has helped itself. Asaduddin Owaisi's party has helped Bharatiya Janata Party more than possibly any other party in Bihar elections. And Asaduddin Owaisi's party is doing that very, very often. MIM is doing this very, very often. Every time when MIM stands in a election, it tends to help the Bharatiya Janata Party, then help itself or help the other, the opposition. So this is now becoming very frequent. My point number 7 is JP Nadda has earned his star. This election was supposed to be headed by Devendra Fadnavis, and he did a fairly decent job till such time that he was down with COVID and he had to be admitted to the hospital. So he did a fair job. So let us give him that due. But finally, the last leg of the election was taken in, the baton was with JP Nadda, and he did a fantastic job of closing this election for Bharatiya Janata Party. So the president of Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. JP Nadda, earned his star with the Bihar elections. So that's my point number 7. My point number 8 is Chirag Paswan and his LJP. Lok Janashakti Party was an overrated party, is an overrated party. They have their base, and their base helps them till such time they are there attached to the NDA. That is, they are attached to the Modi government, or attached to the Bharatiya Janata Party government. Now, the point is, but Lok Janashakti Party had done one thing. It has taken away 10 seats. It has taken away roughly 10 seats from JDU and 15 seats from Mahagathbandhan. It costed JDU 10 seats and Mahagathbandhan 15 seats. So this disruption, this damage, Lok Janashakti Party could do. But other than this, nothing much that Lok Janashakti Party has done. And Chirag Paswan and his party has to do a lot more to come into the limelight and be a relevant party in Bihar, else it may just fade away. So that's my point number 8. My point number 9. BJP for the first time proved that it can win without Amit Shah. Amit Shah was not much, there was no much presence of Amit Shah. I'm sure back of the, behind the screens, he must have done a lot of things, but presence wasn't there, and yet Bihar did a fantastic job. BJP did a fantastic job in Bihar. And one more thing, point number 10th, which I have to say, is most of the exit polls didn't go right is because somewhere down the line, the silent voters of Bihar were not given importance. The silent voters of Bihar were ignored. Who are the silent voters of Bihar? The silent voters of Bihar are the women of Bihar. The women of Bihar normally, now trend says, does make a huge difference in the outcome. And somewhere down the line, in a lot of polls, in a lot of exit polls and opinion polls, they are ignored, or reaching to them, getting feedback from them is slightly difficult. So if you see this result has a lot to do with the silent voters of Bihar. These are my 10 points about Bihar and the election. Now a lot of you may ask me, Arey, EVM ka kya? What about EVM? Hasn't the EVM been responsible for this election? And why aren't we saying that the EVM is responsible? Everything is gone south because of EVM. Everything went wrong because of EVM. Why aren't we saying this? I will tell you why I'm not saying this. Think about it. If leaders like Rahul Gandhi or Sharad Pawar or Mamata Banerjee or Chandrababu Naidu or whatever names that I have taken, if these leaders felt that EVM machines were dominating the elections and because of EVM machines they were losing the elections, do you think they would have stood for the election? Do you think they would have agreed to stand in and spend crores and crores, hundreds of crores of rupees and get their candidates to stand for Bihar election? They would have withdrawn from the election and they said, "ठीक है यार, जब तक ballot box नहीं आता, till such time that you don't put ballot box, I will not put up my candidates." They would have said that. Why would somebody want to waste money, put up their candidates and then lose because of EVMs? I will start blaming the EVM the day Rahul Gandhi takes a press conference and says that Congress lost because of EVM. I will blame the EVM the day Sharad Pawar takes a press conference and he says that he lost elections because of EVM. I will blame EVM the day Mamata Banerjee takes a press conference and says we lost or we won because of EVM. I will blame EVM the day Chandrababu Naidu takes a press conference and say everything went wrong because of EVM. You know what? The chances are none of these ladies or gentlemen would ever do this. Because the reason is, elections can be manipulated, but cannot be won or lost because of EVM. This result can be there can be different causes. I spoke to you about 10. There can be 10 more, 20 more causes. But only blaming EVM is A, completely incorrect, B, could be seen as an excuse, and C, most importantly, we will be behaving like an ostrich, digging our head under the sand and saying the world is in standstill. I don't think, as a political enthusiast, we should be doing that. So, there is my point of view on the EVM. Till we meet next time, Namaskar.